Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. The reason you're not where you want to be is because you're focused on the wrong things. You're focused on distractions. You're focused on other people. You're focused on their timelines, their blessings, their social media highlights. But let me ask you, what about you? What about your gift, your calling, your assignment? Every single day, you have one job: to become the best version of the person God created you to be. Not once a week, not when you're feeling motivated. Every single day. See, too many people live their lives in comparison mode. They scroll, they watch, they envy, and while they're watching someone else's success, they're neglecting the soil of their own lives. Let me be clear, you cannot harvest from a field you refuse to water. Focus on yourself every day because nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to push you. That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's your divine assignment. Focus on daily growth, not occasional motivation. This principle is foundational if you want to build a life of purpose, productivity, and prosperity. Motivation is fleeting. It's that burst of energy you get when you hear a great speech or watch an inspiring video. It feels good in the moment. It can make you want to run through a wall, but motivation isn't sustainable. You can't build a life around a feeling. You build a life around habits, disciplines, and consistent action. That's why daily growth matters more than those occasional highs. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are unreliable. They shift with your mood, with your circumstances, with your environment. You might feel like working on your business today, and tomorrow you might not. You might feel like going to the gym today, and by the time the sun rises tomorrow, the feeling is gone. But growth doesn't ask you how you feel. Growth requires your participation, whether you're inspired or not. When you focus on daily growth, you shift your identity. You stop waiting for something external to get you moving, and you become the kind of person who moves regardless. You create routines that carry you when inspiration won't. You develop habits that become the backbone of your character. And here's the thing, the more you grow daily, the less you need to rely on motivation to get things done. You build momentum through consistency, not through hype. Too many people confuse hype with help. They want the hype of being excited, the hype of hearing a great message, the hype of being surrounded by high energy. But hype wears off. Daily growth doesn't wear off, it compounds. Just like compound interest, daily growth increases in value over time. You may not see massive results after one day or even 1 week, but if you keep showing up, if you keep investing in yourself every single day, the returns will be undeniable. This is why successful people build routines around growth. They don't just wake up and wait for life to inspire them. They have a plan. They know what they're reading, what they're listening to, what they're learning. They carve out time to study, to reflect, to grow, because they understand that transformation is not an event, it's a process, and that process is fueled by consistency. Now let's talk about what daily growth looks like. It's not just about learning something new, it's about becoming someone new. That might mean waking up early to spend time in the Word, journaling your thoughts, or reviewing your goals. It might mean turning off entertainment in the evening so you can read a book that stretches your thinking. It could be listening to a podcast that challenges your mindset while you're commuting instead of zoning out to music. Every small decision that prioritizes growth adds to your long-term transformation. Growth is uncomfortable. That's why most people don't do it. It requires discipline. It demands sacrifice. You'll have to say no to some things you used to enjoy. You'll have to disconnect from people who aren't going anywhere. You'll have to fight the urge to stay the same. But the discomfort of growth is far less painful than the regret of stagnation. Stagnation looks like living the same year over and over, calling it a life. Growth breaks that cycle. Growth takes you from survival to purpose, from repetition to revelation. And let's be real, motivation can be a trap. When you wait to feel motivated, you end up stuck in procrastination. You start telling yourself, I'll start when I feel ready. But readiness doesn't come from feeling, it comes from decision. When you decide to grow every day, you don't wait for your circumstances to line up. You don't wait for people to support you. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You move because your future is worth the cost of consistency. Focusing on daily growth trains your brain to look for progress, not perfection. You won't always get it right. You'll stumble, you'll fall short. But if you're growing, you're still winning. Growth means you're better today than you were yesterday. And if you keep that pattern alive, if you commit to the process, then breakthrough becomes inevitable. Comparison distracts, intention transforms. In a world saturated with social media, curated lives, and constant highlights, it has become easier than ever to fall into the trap of comparison. We look at what others are doing, what others have accomplished, and what they're posting online, and we measure ourselves against their milestones. The problem is that comparison never gives an accurate picture. It distorts reality, discourages progress, and delays purpose. When you compare yourself to someone else, you take your eyes off your own path. You begin to question your pace, your process, and even your potential. You start asking, why am I not there yet? Instead of asking, what do I need to do today to move forward? Comparison causes you to lose focus on your own assignment. It breeds jealousy, insecurity, and even paralysis. It creates a false standard for your life that was never meant for you in the first place. Everyone has a different calling, a different background, a different grace. You don't know what it took for someone to get where they are. You don't know the sacrifices they made, the battles they fought, or the struggles they endured behind the scenes. Yet when you compare, you're judging your beginning against someone else's middle or end. That is a losing game every single time. Intentional living is the antidote to comparison. Intention says, I know where I'm going, and I know why I'm going there. Intention allows you to focus on your mission instead of someone else's metrics. It puts the power back in your hands because it shifts your focus from watching to working, from envy to execution. You stop being distracted by what others are building, and you start building what you were born to create. Living with intention means setting clear goals, crafting a strategy, and aligning your daily actions with your core values. It means showing up with purpose, not just floating through life reacting to what others do. When you live intentionally, you are proactive, not passive. You don't need external validation because your direction comes from an internal conviction. Comparison wants you to compete. Intention teaches you to cooperate with your calling, with your creator, with your personal development. It turns your attention inward so you can develop the gifts that are uniquely yours. It frees you from the pressure of being someone you're not and empowers you to become who you were always meant to be. You can't run your race while looking at someone else's lane. You'll trip. You'll slow down. You might even give up. But when you fix your eyes forward and run with intention, you gain speed, you gain clarity, you gain freedom. Intention brings structure to your growth. It filters out distractions and helps you say no to anything that doesn't align with your purpose. That clarity is priceless. Every time you choose intention over comparison, you strengthen your identity. You become more aware of your own progress. You begin to celebrate your own wins, even if they're small. You stop worrying about who's ahead and start focusing on how far you've come. That shift in mindset is transformational because transformation doesn't come from looking around. It comes from looking within and acting with purpose. The truth is, you were never created to be like anyone else. Your gift is different. Your voice is different. Your path is different. When you compare, you dilute your uniqueness. But when you live intentionally, you amplify it. And that's when you become powerful, not because you're trying to be better than someone else, but because you're fully committed to becoming who you were designed to be. Comparison is noise. Intention is signal. One clouds your vision, the other sharpens it. One pulls you off course, the other keeps you aligned. The choice is always yours. Stay distracted by comparison, or be transformed through intention. Water your own soil. No one will do it for you. That means taking full responsibility for your growth, your development, your success, and your future. In life, you are the farmer and the field. If you want a harvest, you have to put in the work. You have to cultivate the ground, plant the seeds, pull the weeds, and show up every day whether the sun is shining or the clouds are hanging low. Too many people are waiting for someone to come along and pour into them. They're waiting for a mentor, a coach, a partner, a friend, or even a miracle. But what they fail to realize is that no one can water your soil the way you can. No one else is responsible for your destiny. People can help, they can encourage, and they can guide, but they can't do the work for you. They can't read the books for you. They can't develop your mindset for you. They can't build your business, grow your faith, or develop your discipline. That's your job. Watering your soil means showing up daily with intentionality and consistency. It means speaking life into your future, not just wishing for it. It means putting in the quiet, unseen work, the work that doesn't get applause but produces the roots that can weather any storm. The deeper the roots, the stronger the growth, and deep roots are grown in silence, in solitude, in struggle. No spotlight, just sweat. When you neglect your own soil, you dry up. You become reactive instead of proactive. You start looking at everyone else's field, wondering why they're growing and you're not. But the truth is, you reap what you sow. If you're not watering your mind with wisdom, your spirit with truth, your body with discipline, and your purpose with action, you'll never see the harvest you were meant to have. We live in a culture that celebrates consumption more than cultivation. People would rather watch someone else win than do the internal work required to win themselves. But you weren't created to just consume. You were created to contribute, to grow, to lead, to multiply. And that begins with taking care of your own garden. Your future is built by your daily habits, not by your hopes, not by your dreams, not by the goals you wrote down once in a notebook and never looked at again. The real architect of your destiny is what you do consistently, not occasionally, not when you feel inspired, but day in and day out when no one is watching. The small decisions you make every day are either constructing the life you want or dismantling it, brick by brick. Every action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. You don't just wake up one day successful, disciplined, confident, or wise. Those traits are built over time through repetition. You build discipline every time you choose structure over chaos. You build confidence every time you keep a promise to yourself. You build wisdom every time you trade comfort for learning. That process doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in the mundane. We often underestimate the power of small, consistent habits. The way you start your morning, the thoughts you allow to live in your mind, the foods you eat, the words you speak, the time you spend scrolling versus the time you spend growing. These don't seem major in isolation, but over weeks, months, and years, they shape your trajectory more than any single break, through moment ever could. Success doesn't respond to intention alone. It responds to execution. Your habits determine your level of execution. You can dream big, plan big, pray big, and speak big, but if your daily life is full of procrastination, excuses, and inconsistency, then your future will never reflect the potential of your vision. That's the gap habits fill. They turn potential into performance. Habits aren't just what you do. They're who you are becoming. If you want to change your life, you have to start by changing what you repeatedly do. That requires self-awareness, discipline, and often discomfort. But the alternative, staying stuck in cycles that sabotage your success, is far more costly. If you build weak habits, you'll have to fight the same battles over and over. But if you build strong ones, they'll carry you when your motivation fails. It's not about perfection. It's about alignment. Are your daily habits aligned with your long-term vision? You say you want financial freedom, but are you budgeting, investing, learning? You say you want better health, but are you eating with intention, exercising, sleeping well? You say you want peace, but are you setting boundaries, practicing gratitude, protecting your mindset? Your habits will tell the truth even when your words don't. You can't cheat this process. There is no shortcut to a strong future. You either build it on discipline or suffer from the consequences of delay. This is where maturity comes in. Maturity is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's training yourself to take action even when comfort calls your name. And the more you choose discipline over distraction, the more powerful your habits become. The beauty of this truth is that it gives you control. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are not defined by your past. You don't have to wait for the right time. You can begin today, right now, with the next decision. That's the power of habits. They're formed one choice at a time. Every decision either pulls you toward your future or pushes you further from it. And don't mistake simplicity for weakness. The strongest habits are often the simplest. Waking up early, speaking life over yourself, planning your day, moving your body, reading truth, executing your priorities. Do them daily and they will compound. They will create structure. They will cultivate character. They will produce results. Your future is not a mystery. It's a reflection of the systems you build and the standards you uphold. You are either designing a future that honors your purpose, or you are drifting toward a life filled with regret. The difference, your habits. Excellence is a decision, not a gift. It's not reserved for the talented, the privileged, or the lucky. It's available to anyone who chooses it and commits to it. Too often, people believe that excellence is something you're born with, something that just happens to certain people. That mindset is a trap. It keeps you passive. It keeps you waiting. But the truth is, excellence is not accidental. It's intentional. It's a daily decision to go above average, to reject mediocrity, and to show up fully, even when no one else is watching. Excellence begins where excuses end. It starts the moment you decide that your standard will not be determined by what others settle for. It's choosing to operate at your highest level even when you could get away with less. It's deciding that good enough is not good enough for the assignment you've been given. You can't walk in excellence while tolerating average habits, average effort, or average thinking. You don't need permission to pursue excellence. You don't need applause, followers, or approval. You need commitment, because excellence costs more. It demands more time, more focus, more integrity, but it gives more in return. More fulfillment, more favor, more opportunity. Excellence opens doors that talent alone never could. It attracts people, resources, and results that mediocrity will never access. The world honors those who commit to doing things with a spirit of excellence. Excellence isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's showing up with full effort, full intention, and full presence every single time. It's about doing the small things with great care. Excellence doesn't wait for big moments. It lives in the details. It shows up in how you treat people, how you prepare, how you follow through, and how you finish. It's in the way you answer an email, the way you deliver your work, the way you show respect even when it's not reciprocated. Many people want the rewards of excellence without the responsibility of discipline. They want the spotlight without the sacrifice, but you can't outsource excellence. No one else can do it for you. It's not something that arrives. It's something you cultivate. And the more you choose it, the more it becomes your identity. It gets into your mindset, your work ethic, your relationships, and even your reputation. When you commit to excellence, you separate yourself. Not because you think you're better, but because you refuse to be complacent. You raise the bar, you become an example. You show others what's possible when you take ownership of your output, and in doing so, you begin to multiply impact. Because excellence is contagious, it challenges others to rise, it shifts the atmosphere, it inspires change. This is why excellence must be your baseline, not your goal. It's not something you reach, it's something you live by. It becomes your default mode, not just in public, but in private, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's difficult. It's when no one is clapping, no one is watching, and you still give your best. That's where excellence is proven. That's where character is forged. The temptation to cut corners, to take shortcuts, to do just enough. It will always be there. But every time you resist that urge and choose the high road, you become stronger. Every time you show up with quality, even when it's inconvenient, you build a legacy. Because your excellence says something about who you are, what you value, and how seriously you take your calling. You don't need to be the most talented person in the room. You don't need the best background, the highest IQ, or the perfect conditions. What you need is a decision that average will never be enough for the life you've been called to live. Become better asterisk for asterisk others, not asterisk then asterisk others. This mindset is the difference between ego and purpose. When you're driven by the desire to be better than others, your growth becomes rooted in comparison, competition, and insecurity. You measure success by how far ahead you are instead of how deeply you're serving. But when you focus on becoming better asterisk for asterisk others, your growth is driven by contribution, character, and calling. You weren't created to outshine others. You were created to uplift them. Every gift you've been given, every lesson you've learned, every skill you've developed is meant to be used to impact the lives around you. Growth becomes powerful when it goes beyond self-benefit. If your success only serves you, it's incomplete. Real greatness shows up in how you influence, inspire, and empower others through who you are becoming. When your motivation is rooted in outdoing others, you will always be chasing validation. You'll feel pressure to prove something, to impress, to maintain an image. But when your focus is becoming better for others, your progress becomes peaceful. You're no longer fighting for approval. You're operating from purpose. You show up with intention, not comparison. You lead with service, not superiority. This shift in perspective affects how you build your life. You train harder not just to win, but to lead. You study more not to appear smart, but to teach with clarity. You grow spiritually not to boast maturity, but to walk in love, patience, and wisdom. The energy behind your development changes from selfish ambition to selfless mission. That's when you become unstoppable, not because you want to be seen, but because you want to make a difference. Becoming better for others also keeps you grounded. It reminds you that the spotlight isn't the goal, stewardship is. It reminds you that success is a tool, not a trophy. It humbles you and heightens your responsibility. When you carry that mindset, people feel your presence. They're impacted not just by what you do, but by who you are. Your excellence lifts them. Your discipline inspires them. Your journey encourages them. Growth becomes more meaningful when it multiplies. If your improvement creates space for others to grow, you're doing it right. If your example helps someone believe in themselves, you're making an impact. That's the kind of legacy that lasts. Not the applause you receive, but the lives you change through your obedience and development. You're not called to compete. You're called to complete. Complete your assignment. Complete your race. Complete your part in the lives of others. Becoming better for others isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing love over ego, contribution over competition, purpose over pride.